find his riches here. And so where he came upon is this land right here, in Chicago. And so he established relations with the Potawatomi people, and he ended up marrying a Potawatomi princess. Her name was Kittihawa. And so Jean-Baptiste Fontesabo and Kittihawa established the first non-native settlement of Chicago, where the Michigan Apple Store stands today. But we are moving away from that place. So what I do want to talk about next is that the way that our Chicago River is flowing is not the original way that it used to flow back in the 1700s. The way that it used to flow is actually the direction we're heading right here, right now. And so, you may be asking, why did Chicago reverse this river? How do you even do that? Buckle up, folks. I'm going to start with a geography lesson. So, Illinois is on a continental divide. So anything east of this continental divide, inventors in cities trying to make their market history with new inventions that they're unveiling, or new cityscapes. Now, what are you going to invent? He says, I'm going to reinvent the wheel. He's saying, what do you mean, George? Imagine twice the size of our centennial wheel. So it's over 200 feet tall. And our cars are not like those cars. Those are climate controlled. That means it stays warm in the winter and cooler in the summer. The cars that we have are refurbished train cars that can hold up to 60 people at a time. Imagine a new, huge, moving steel structure. 60 people in there. People come to the Great Lakes, they look across and they say, are you sure this isn't an ocean? Because you can't see the other side. So beside themselves that, are you sure this is a lake? Well, it is, and what sets us apart from the ocean is that the ocean has lunar tide. Constructing it. That is actually a very intentional part of the engineering for this building. Since we are so close to Lake Michigan, it can get pretty windy. So with this design, another thing about the St. Regis, it's got this very distinctive curvy shape to it, but there are actually no panels of curved glass. So they use those on the larger floors to just make it a little bit less heated. Architects and Julie Kay, we're about to see another one of her buildings. It's going to be the tall building with the white wavy balconies and the blue glass.
site of an insurance company, but it is also exactly where the original Fort Dearborn was built. Fort Dearborn was established in 1803 as a way to protect the intersection of the river and the lake, because back in the day, that site is where Lake Michigan.
Staying on that left-hand side, next we're going to talk about this tall black building with the checkerboard on the front. That's the Leo Burnett building from 1989. A great example of a comes to modern design. This building is home to some of Chicago's most famous residents, including inside. We're going to talk about this tall building with the mirrors on it. This is 77 West Drive. This building doesn't have its own name, but it does have a cool picture at the top. Up there is a pyramid. It's a triangular set of columns. That's because this building was inspired by a lot of Greek architecture, and at the time it looks a lot like the Parthenon. So we like to call that building the Parthenon on a stick. Our next building looks a lot like a large throne or an armchair. On the left-hand side, that's the LaSalle Wacker building from 1930. And the reason that it looks like that shape is because of a city zoning ordinance which required buildings to have a portion set back. No retail. And it is a gorgeous building, but it did have some pretty bad timing. It closed about 6 months after opening due to the Great Depression. And it stayed that way for a few years until the Kennedy family bought it in 1945 for about $12.5 million. The Kennedys held on to it for a few decades and sold it again in 1998 for about $650 million. But the city of Chicago looks like a capital letter Y, which you can see if you look closely on the right-hand side along this fence. That letter Y is the main branch, the north branch, and the south branch, all meeting in the middle. Now I want to take a look at a building right at the point of our river. It's called River Point, right in front of us on the right-hand side with that red sculpture. That sculpture is called Constellation. And this building is pretty cool because right under it are actually live railroad tracks. That's what all those circular vents are for. They're letting out the exhaust from those tracks. Take a look at that distinctive arch on the bottom. That arch is very beautiful, but it's also structurally very important. This building had to put in its supports between those railroad tracks. So it's actually holding most of its weight on the ends of those arches. We're turning around now. We'll take a look on your right-hand side to this beautiful green glass building. This is the New Bean building. It's a great example of contextualism on the river. 1983. Contextualism basically means we're paying attention to our neighbors and taking note of our surroundings. As you may be starting to notice, that clock tower is not precisely in the middle. The left side of the building is actually shorter because they had to widen LaSalle Street, the bridge we just passed under. So what they did was they chopped off one section of the left side, stuck the end back on, and now we just have an asymmetrical building. Pretty cool. Next, we're going to look right ahead and to the right side at the tall green building with the gold 1029 and the Art Deco style. It was designed by the Burnham brothers, who happen to be the sons of Daniel Burnham, the man
Creo que sí.